All right.
Welcome to A Course in Miracles. Should we do names? A couple of old timers have returned. A couple of new faces. So I'm Andrew.
Nicole.
That's Carol. And that's Wendy. And that's Olchi.
Marcia.
Lisa.
Robert.
Dick.
Jill.
Johnny.
Colette. Michaeline.
Well, lucky you all. Because we're going to talk tonight about a tool of the ego that, unfortunately, has brought you what the ego calls success. Something that you probably pull out when you need it the most to get something done. And of course, we're going to talk about this, about the ego. There will be costs to it that we need to appreciate. It came up last week briefly, and I realized how we really needed to visit one of the basics of A Course in Miracles. And so we will do that tonight before we jump into our reading. It ties into the special relationships so perfectly. I don't know how we've come this far this year without talking about it.
I can't wait.
So the idea for tonight, which ties into special relationships and which we all use when we need it to get something done, is attack. So let's think just for a few moments and get personal now. It's not just an academic exercise. When we do these meditations, it's a chance for you to go into yourself and find out what's in there around these words. What's in there around the word attack for you. It's very personal. And it might be something to which you're addicted and don't know it. Let's just look at it. Get honest now. Sometimes, there are times when you really felt, you really believe, it's time to attack. It's time to knock somebody down a notch. It's time to tell them. What does it feel like when you are ready to attack? Of course, it's because they deserve it. Of course. Now it's your turn, and you can't quite hold it back. What is that? What's going on with you? When you attack, is your voice raised? Or are you talking peacefully, like I'm talking now? When you attack, are your fists clenched? Or your hands held out softly and open to the other? Now, try to get honest. You don't have to tell anybody else. But ask yourself. Think back to the last time you attacked. What did you want to happen? Remember the harshness in your voice? What was that trying to do? Did you feel strong while you were attacking? Are you proud of your attack? And finally, and this is a tricky question, are you going to attack again? So this attack thing, last week we came up for a few moments, and sometimes we found that it was already arrived. The energy to attack was already there. We didn't feel like we chose it. It's just there. Lisa.
So the thing that comes up before you get ready to attack is self-righteousness.
Yeah.
I am so right and you are so wrong, you know?
Yes. Sure.
So when you're right, it's time. It's ripe. You're encouraged, empowered, supported. Everybody would agree with you. Mm-hmm. What are you doing with your raised voice, your finger outstretched, your accusation, the attack? What are you trying
Even before you do that, you go through this mental process in your mind where you're like, oh, I'm right and you're wrong. You know? I'm right, you're wrong.
The justification's occurring in the private
I'm
thoughts.
going to make sure you know about it.
Are you sort of rehearsing?
Mm-hmm.
Justifying?
It's all emotions.
Well, sure, you have to judge the situation.
Judging it? It's got a process of judgment going on there. You're kind of testing, hearing how it would sound if you were to bark this out. Oh no, if I barked that out instead, that would be better.
I just had a party with my ego.
Yeah.
We had a really good party.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. And I'm kind of like in this place now that we're just like talking about it before we even go there. And that ego is kind of like there, but he looks at me and says, It's kind of different.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think I'm kind of developing into knowing Mario Yo.
If you were to listen to the ego before you let it speak, that pause alone is enough to catch its maneuver, its manipulations, its promises that you've heard before and they never worked.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wait until they speak out loud, if you let them speak out loud to hear them, you were already caught in the cycle.
Well, that's what the party was about. I was letting them know, like, hey, you know what, you've been lying to me this whole time, and you're making me feel like this and that, this and that, this and that, and that.
It's great, Mario.
Yeah.
You bet. You bet.
It never delivers when you listen to the ego. It never delivers those promises.
It shows itself.
It
Like I
always
say,
leads to pain.
did you hear your tight voice, your raised voice in your attack? You're going to hear yourself gearing up for one, letting it out. Can you see yourself in attack mode?
Oh, yeah.
Mine comes from emotion.
Big
Yeah.
time.
It's triggered by
Yes.
the emotion and then the fear and then
Yeah.
and it tends for me to be like, I'm not going to be a victim here kind of thing. I'm protecting myself. I'm,
But you see, my ego lets me see the battlefield after the conquer, whatever it's trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
But then you back up and you go, now look what you did.
Doesn't take much to imagine what's going to happen when you go to somebody you just said last week, I love you. And now you're unleashing this emotional storm that's being powered by fear, anger. Any emotions you want to throw on there? Victimhood.
Yeah.
Victim is.
And the overall energy, which is, I don't want this to get worse, so I'm going to put a stop to it right now.
Control.
Control. Control. So back to my question. How was this control supposed to work? With the raised voice, the pointed, I know how to press your buttons. And if I have to, I will. How many of you cross the line? You treat me this way. I know how to insult your cooking.
I know.
I know you're proud of it. And if I need to, I will attack you. Why? What's supposed to happen when I do that? What am I hoping for? When we raise our voice and we push those buttons.
Victory.
Victory. What's supposed to happen to the other side when I pull that out? Hey, you know what you really did? Okay, you thought you were helping, but this is what you really did.
They get hurt.
You were selfish. You were short-sighted, unkind. And you broke my stuff. I don't know. You know, stick with your cooking. You put tofu in the chicken cacciatore again.
Again?
We did that one before.
All right.
There we go.
There we go.
Well, part of cacciatore is tofu. Your idea healthy, huh? Has no flavor.
That's the statutory part.
See, listen to her defend herself. See, now I know I got her.
If she defends herself, then
You
she
engage
receives,
in
that
your
means she
loss.
receives your
Yeah.
attack.
Done for.
That is
I better be
vulnerable.
right, yeah.
As soon as she defends herself, she's telling herself that she's been attacked, and you're experiencing that she received your attack because she's defending. The truth never has to be defended; it just is.
Yes.
So as soon as she defends it, she experiences the effects of your attack and gets into that victim mode.
Well, then you've lost, and it's
And
the
then-
cycle
You go
goes,
downhill
and-
from there.
And then she's going to attack me back and say, hey, didn't the doctor tell you need to lower your cholesterol and this tofu is going to help? It's just because I love you. That's why I'm taking the flavor out of your
Doing it
meals.
for your own.
Because I love you. I'm like,
Flavor out of your milk.
right? So, around you go.
Flavorful tofu.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
You make the best, okay? It is the best. What are we... See, so the two voices go up and up, and right, and we're losing. It's getting worse by the second, because then we got two attacks.
What are you hoping for when you attack her? What do
And Michaelina said, she said... Michaelina.
Which one was it that I said?
She said that the fear is powered by fear, it's powered by emotion, and this victimization is overwhelming her, and that's when the nose wrinkles, and that's when that finger comes out.
It's defensive.
Oh, the door slams.
The door slam. That's usually how it ends, isn't it?
It doesn't end.
Oh,
It does, that's the beginning.
That's just the beginning. It's just the song.
Right. Oh man, did he get the last word?
Really?
What are you hoping to happen with those words, or the door slam, or
I'm
the...
sorry. I didn't mean to do it. Please forgive me.
I want him to cave in to the point where all he has is, I'm sorry. I want him to get off of his think that he's right, and I want to take control, and have him admit that I'm in control and I'm right.
So that's a strategy to
I'm
manipulate to get the response that you want.
Yeah, because I want to be right
Well,
more than I want to be happy, it turns out. I'm going to be absolutely unhappy. I'm going to say foul words.
And make the other person unhappy.
Told you I loved you just last week, but not tonight.
Or maybe an hour ago.
Maybe that's right. Yeah.
You didn't meet the conditions.
Now, why do you... Right. Now,
There she goes.
behind this,
Yeah.
well, the reason why I'm empowered, somebody I just told I love you just a week ago. Now I'm grinding you down, insulting you with my raised voice, not giving you a chance to explain your side, because I think I know. I'm empowered by that because my emotions are drowning. I'm drowning in fear. I'm feeling like a victim again. I'm feeling out of control.
Feeling unseen and unloved.
I'm feeling unseen, unloved, unrespected.
The person who's attacking feels that?
The person who's now attacking feels all of that.
Oh.
That's what empowers the attack. Because, let me just reverse that for a moment. If you feel seen, in control, loved, you're completely tolerant because you're satisfied,
Yeah.
the voice does not get raised. The finger does not come out. You know what happens instead? All the fingers come out. It looks like this. How can I help?
Nice.
How can I help?
Open.
All the fingers of their hands are open, not
Yeah.
clenched.
Cries for more love.
Is now all insecurity?
Right. Now you take the insecurity, you take the sense that I don't feel loved, and I'm going to start cowering, drawing in, and start to protect myself from losing more. And if I find out you're the source, you're making it worse, I'm going to have to attack.
Yeah.
Talking is all defense anyway.
Well, I feel attacked.
Yeah.
Feel attacked.
I feel attacked when I think I'm looking at a situation that happened to me last week where I was actually feeling attacked and I didn't even know how to respond. It was sort of an incredulous thing, and then all of a sudden I felt like, wait a minute, this isn't true, this isn't right, and then I had to defend myself, and the more I did that, the worse it got.
That was my story.
Yeah.
That's my story. That's exactly.
It's everybody's story, but she's speaking it.
Everybody's story.
The more you defend yourself,
It was
the
incredible.
worse
It's
it
like-
got.
Like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I know.
That wasn't your intention.
No,
You were
not at all.
You weren't seen and heard for your.
Because you're innocent. You just need to speak your innocence, right? That was the plan.
Right.
The plan was...
That what you're saying is not true. And I actually said that. What you're saying is not true.
Yeah, but then that person doesn't feel heard. And then they don't feel seen, and then they don't feel loved.
And then
that
they
doesn't
become,
work.
and that doesn't work. And this is in a professional situation, too.
Oh, that's
My
your,
boss.
Oh,
Yeah, so now the boss
that's your security.
is just been told that what they're saying
Isn't true.
is not true. Now, when somebody says something's not true, what's another word for that? Anybody?
Lying.
Lying!
But it also could mean I love you too.
Yeah, right. So,
No, I'm serious.
I know, tough love. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, I know you're right, Mario. But but the first way, before it's seen as I love you, it's seen as you are lying.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't intend to lie, because I know you think that you're telling the truth, but I know you're lying, and I'm here to stop you. I'm here to call you wrong, because you deserve it right now. This is what is coming across. It's kind of like an attack. The words are not, you can say the most horrible words. They don't seem like an attack. You know, Nicole, you really smell horrible tonight.
That seems like an attack.
It's like something died.
What the hell?
Like something
wrong
died.
with you?
It's really amazing bad smell. I think I can see the smell. It's so
I
bad.
can see the smell.
But it's not, I mean, these are horrible, right? But it's not really mean to hurt her. It's like, this is amazing how bad you smell. Well, right? It's terrible.
I'm just telling you the truth.
But you put some energy. Now, if I put just the smallest amount of energy behind that, you know how she would have slapped me by now. You know how ugly that could be? Those words I just said. So what happens is, when the emotions pile up, you can't even say nice words nicely. Because they sound like this. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mario. That's how it comes out.
Yeah.
The words aren't mattering here. Because the emotions that she's saying are already arrived. Now, that's why we're doing A Course in Miracles, because we want to get to the cause, the effects are not causes.
That's right.
The words and what you're saying. No, the cause is what's behind it.
So when the fear arrives, it's all over. Just keep your mouth shut.
You better try to not communicate.
Because no matter what you say when you're in fear, is not going to be heard right.
That's exactly right. And that was really, I think, in a long time, the first time I'd experienced that. Because I'm pretty good at staying, holding in and keeping that empty space. Let what happened happens. And I was completely off guard. It actually brought me to this room.
It was your fear got so triggered.
My fear wasn't just triggered, it was overwhelming and I couldn't get rid of it. The feeling was like a permanent, it was like in my stomach.
You could feel it,
was in
gut-wrenching
my
pain.
solar plexus.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, nothing I said, no prayer, no breathing, no meditating, nothing. It was just there.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
It was in your
it.
gut. You could feel it physically.
Yeah, and I had to sit with it and I didn't know that that's what I had to do. I just had to sit with it.
Breathing.
But my ego just connected right to my ego, and then it connected to my victimization tapes that I have, and I did back off toward the end where I actually went to what is it I really want here, and I was able to say I just really want to understand. I just really want to understand, and while I don't know that was heard, because I still don't know the result of that interaction. But it was pretty revealing.
So I want to point out, you spoke beautifully. We all could have said that. We've all been through I just want to understand, or I just want you to know the truth. What you said is not true. Especially when I'm talking about you. I've had this people tell me what I'm thinking and feeling. No, that's not what I'm thinking. Oh yeah, that's what you would say. You would deny it. No, I never even thought that. You said that about me. Oh my God. So I feel like I really need to tell them. But if the emotions are there to empower, a little bit of, say, finger action or tooth action or...
I actually leaned forward.
I actually leaned forward. I went like this. I'm like... She said, "Why are you leaning forward? Like, wake up." I mean, it was like I was in the trance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were triggered.
The primordial program of attack was taking over. This is leaning forward. I'm going to come in and get you. Because I'm so certain about what I'm doing. I'm coming in. Yeah, it's very important. Yeah. So that the fear.
It was the fear. She was so threatened.
They're running the show now. Now, here's an important question: is fear a cause? Is it the fear that we can say is the cause of her going for that woman's throat?
Was the thought about what it meant, what that person said.
Yes.
It's like we give all the meaning it has to us, so what that man said triggered an old wound or whatever. It was whatever she thought that meant is what pushed the button and triggered the fear.
And it's an old story in my
It
life.
comes from the thinking first, then the emotion. Yeah. See, you wouldn't have reacted so strong if it wasn't an old wound. That's how we know immediately it's an old wound. If we really react to a place where it feels like, it almost feels like life-threatening. It feels life-threatening, almost like a survival fear. Then we know it's an old wound.
Are you telling me there's something that caused that fear? The fear wasn't the thing?
It was the thought.
It was the meaning we gave it.
Yes.
Something,
attribution.
Some attribution, some thought, some analysis, some judgment, some meaning was already agreed, already completely agreed to that this is bad.
It was harmful. Shocking. I mean, it was an unexpected moment.
Yes.
And I was unprepared.
Yes.
And, that's
personal. Now, if you happen to be at Trader Joe's and you're in line 4, and you heard this said about somebody else in line 2 while you're flipping through the magazine, wouldn't it have the same words by somebody else to somebody else?
Right.
When you got your hair up, you wouldn't have been that excited.
Because it wouldn't have been personal.
Exactly. So there's something a very personal judgment, very personal set of meanings
Good point.
is before the fear. So it isn't actually the fear, is it? The fear is not the enemy.
It was the emotion, I think.
It was thought.
The thought first. But then it attached to the emotion.
Yes. Then
Yes.
it became.
The thought manifested.
Then it became like that pain body feeling.
Yeah.
The thought made a judgment. The thought told some stories. The thought had some private gyrations in your... Yeah, all of that true. So so now we don't... Fear's not the problem. The yelling's not the... That's not even... None of that is the cause.
What does that mean to me?
What does it mean? Huh?
No, I'm just saying that, yeah, those are just secondary.
Right. Oh, thank goodness. Because I'm glad they're secondary, for one. Here's why. Because when you have the fear is not the time to get rid of the fear. When your voice is up and your fingernails are out,
Like a cat.
you're leaning forward, looking for the jugular with your mind's eye. That's not the time. That's not the time to solve it, folks.
No, not we're in our wrong mind.
It's hard, okay? And it probably won't come out well.
So
I'm not angry. That's what that sounds like. I'll solve it right now. I'm a good Course in Miracles student, and I don't believe in attack. That's what it looks like.
I punished myself after that, too, for a
Huh?
while. I was punishing my ego. I mean, it was like...
Guilty.
It was the guilt.
Guilt.
Yeah, it was the guilt. And I was savoring in that for a while, the guilt. It wasn't very servicing.
The Course talks about the attraction to guilt.
Yeah.
Whoa. That is a psychotherapy session and a half. Attraction to guilt. And yet, we do that. We actually have a little relationship with guilt.
A little one. Oh,
Okay, it's bigger than that, isn't it? It's very, very
It's
personal.
about the biggest thing going.
You don't want to admit that. And yet, guilt serves us. If I can give it to you, or if I am willing to admit that I'm guilty, I'm really sorry.
That feels so good.
I did that.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to, okay? But I really did that. And I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to make it better. You find some way. I'm buying her forgiveness. I'm trying to butter it up with a good layer of guilt.
I was kind of liking that.
Yeah.
I was like, that feels so loving.
It reminds me of the Course of Miracles, Ho'oponopono. Have you heard of it anywhere?
Yeah, I love you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what was wrong about what you were saying? You were saying, I'm sorry,
Because it has.
please forgive me.
Because according to them, you attract the situations that you're having on the inside. But it makes sense that you had buttons were pushed that triggered other old files that you have in the back. And according to them, the aloha, whatever their philosophy, that since if you have these things going on the inside, you're going to manifest them in the outer world. So it's kind of like a vicious circle until you work on it one way in the outer or in the inner, and either way it works.
Because it's basically saying, I love you, but I really love myself. For saying it.
Yeah.
But we have to accept that too at the same time.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's very useful. All these tools are useful. They work you right where you... If they're working, it's because they're working at a level where you are.
What was wrong with what you were just saying to her? I really didn't mean that. I'm sorry. What you were being so honest and vulnerable.
He was just
And he
calming
threw butter
her
in
down
there.
instead of really forgiving her.
So from a Course in Miracles perspective, we would see the ego is taking guilt on me so that I can buy her forgiveness, get myself off the hook.
Oh, you didn't really mean it.
I want to calm her down.
Oh.
And sure, it's part
So when you say you're sorry, you don't really mean it.
You can mean it. You can mean it. You can call yourself absolutely guilty. I did something wrong and I hurt you. Let's go for absolute truth. Wow, I really hurt you. That was the wrong thing to do. I'm really sorry. Honestly, right? Now, what I'm doing is I am teaching that I hurt her. In other words, she can be hurt by me.
Oh,
You know why you're hurt? You know why you're feeling bad? Because I hurt you. Wait a minute.
You're telling her she's vulnerable.
She's not responsible now. I'm responsible.
So you took it back.
And she likes it. No, she likes it. Yeah, she's okay with me doing the harm because she feels bad, and she doesn't like feeling bad. Nobody does.
But she gets to be the victim.
But why is she doing it? Because it's me. Right.
Because you're basically taking the pain that she has, drawing it back to yourself, and giving it back and forth.
And so now she's a victim, not a perpetrator.
She's okay as long as you're sorry and you're happy with her. But then as soon as you get angry at her again that she's not okay, she's going to be a victim to whatever mood swings you're going to have.
It's the law of victimhood. It came from the outside. That's the only problem with this dance.
Okay,
is that something that she's feeling came from the outside. Of Course in Miracles, we don't care whether it's a plus or minus feeling. Just know that everything comes from the inside.
So this song could go back and forth, right?
Yes.
From her to you, to you, to her, to you.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So what would the Course have us believe about this situation?
Good
What would it have us do with this situation?
Let's find out in the words of the Course itself. Please open your book to page 40 in the workbook.
40.
I like that.
Here?
I like that photo.
Mario, would you pull two more books?
We created it. We did what we have made, not the first.
I've actually heard that.
We made it for Return to Dawn.
I don't remember. That's so cool. What she was saying.
Oh, yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, I know a lot of people really like it.
Yeah, my husband and I like to argue perception a lot.
Yeah. You can open it, please.
Are there any that are already open?
Yeah,
I can open it for you.
Yeah, would you?
Yeah, I will. I'll open this one. You can open that one for me.
Any clause?
Page 40. You say page 40?
Page 40 in the workbook. So you're going to turn right in the middle of the book.
There.
Just a little past the middle. A little past the middle. It's lesson 26. So you're in the workbook now.
The back part of the book.
The middle of the book. So if you're at the end of the book, that's too far. Like Lisa.
I don't know that I know the right book.
Lisa, the workbook. There you go.
Can I buy this?
Yes. Yes.
How much is it?
That was $30. That's a supplement.
Plus tax.
No. Are we all there?
Page 40 in the workbook.
Page 40 in the workbook. Let's read one paragraph each. This is an amazing lesson. The Course talks a lot about attack because of all the things we just described. How we're so drunk on that as a tool. So, attack, if you can believe it, it's number 62 of the most popular words in the entire book.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that.
Almost 500 references, 477 references to attack. That's how important it is on your spiritual journey to let go of your ego. You need to look at attack.
Yeah.
Because it's so believed. All right, so let's look in. Nicole, would you like to start?
Okay.
My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. It is surely obvious that if you can be attacked, you are not invulnerable. You see attack as a real threat. That is because you believe that you can really attack. And what have effects through you must also have effects on you. It is this law that will ultimately save you, but you are misusing it now. You must therefore learn how it can be used for your own best interests rather than against them.
Because your attack thoughts will be projected, you will fear attack. And if you fear attack, you must believe that you are not invulnerable. Attack thoughts therefore make you vulnerable in your own mind, which is where the attack thoughts are. Attack thoughts and invulnerability cannot be accepted together. They contradict each other.
The idea for today introduces the thought that you always attack yourself first. If attack thoughts must entail the belief that you are vulnerable, their effect is to weaken you in your own eyes.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thus, they have attacked your perception of yourself. And because you believe in them, you can no longer believe in yourself. A false image of yourself has come to take the place of what you are.
Practice with today's idea will help you to understand that vulnerability or invulnerability is the result of your own thoughts. Nothing except your thoughts can attack you. Nothing except your thoughts can make you think you're vulnerable. And nothing except your thoughts can prove to you this is not so.
Guys, hold right there. Jill, flip about 6.
I'm here.
Oh, you're there? You
Yeah.
have the workbook?
I think he has a different.
Oh, you went over.
She's got the old.
You got a special book.
But
You're
we're
living
gonna
in
share.
in the past.
We're sharing.
I did that last week. I have that too.
I should really get rid of those things. All right. We have more books on the shelf. If you, that's fine. Workbooks. Yeah, let's continue.
6 practice periods are required in applying today's idea. A full 2 minutes should be attempted for each of them, although the time may be reduced to a minute if the discomfort is too great. Do not reduce it further.
On that paragraph, because we're not going to go back and read that one again, I just want to point out that this is lesson 26 in the workbook. The first lessons say, spend just a moment with this thought and drop it. And if you're uncomfortable, drop it sooner. Now, we get up into lesson 20, it's saying, this is the first time we're going to ask you for a little more effort. Now it says spend 2 minutes, about lesson 20 or so. So we're saying spend a full minute with this idea, even if it's uncomfortable. But not for the first 20 lessons or so. You're allowed to just bail. You're allowed to you get uncomfortable, drop it now. So now we're up to actually requiring 6 practice periods by the time we get to lesson 26. We're going to make some mind changes. We're going to start changing the source. Remember we said it was thoughts, right? We boiled it down past fear and guilt, but past the yelling and screaming, down to the fear, the emotions, the guilt, to thoughts. This book is about changing your mind. The source of all the things you experience are your thoughts. So that's why in the workbook we actually start laying out, dispersed throughout the day. Just six times to spend a moment with this thought. Because he wants to catch you throughout the day when you're already drunk on one of these things, the victimhood, the fear, the old tapes running, what have you. To catch him and apply this thought. So just a little visit to how powerful and directed these things are. Let's continue.
The practice period should begin with the repeating the idea for today, then closing your eyes and reviewing the unsolved questions whose outcomes are causing you to concern. The concern may take the form of depression, worry, anger, a sense of imposition, fear,
foreboding,
or preoccupation. Any problem as yet unsettled that tends to reoccur in your thoughts during the day is a suitable subject. You will not be able to use very many for any one practice period because a longer time than usual should be spent with each one. Today's ideas should be applied as followed. First, name the situation. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll have Lisa do the exercise. That's fine. But just for a moment, take a look at this, this nasty list of things that he lays out there. And he says, any problem, this is how personal, this is how you know the author of this book has actually lived in your shoes, lived with a mind, with the lower M, and rehearsed and played and struggled with the same things we do, because any problem is yet unsettled that tends to recur in your thoughts. That means happen over and over. The one that happens over and over and over. Those ones.
How about the thought of saying, say you find someone attractive, right?
Yes.
And it's going over and over and over.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Explain that one.
Well, so that's what we call preoccupation.
Okay.
And that's in the list as well. And if it's uncomfortable and you find you're not enjoying it,
then go to occupation.
But what if you are? But what if you are enjoying it?
Well, knock yourself out, buddy.
All righty.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not a problem.
It's free.
Okay, thank you.
Enjoy.
I could be me, huh?
That's why I said, what's the problem?
Yeah. Glad to be you.
Okay, thank you.
Enjoy that preoccupying thought. Now then, remember, we talked about, you think about that girl, let's say it's a girl.
Okay.
Okay, let's just pretend.
Pretend.
You can't get her off your mind.
Santa Cruz.
It is right there.
It's Santa Cruz, so please insert your gender of choice.
Well, it could be a different genus.
Hey, but it's still a holy cross. Santa Cruz.
And the thought recurs and recurs, and you're just loving it, right?
I can't get out of it.
You know what? You start dreaming about, yeah, this is really great, right? And that is occurring. Remember, we talked about this? When you're right over there, just like being over there with the bananas at Trader Joe's. Everything is right. Not only do you have this girl recurring in your mind, you just can't get your mind off of, but also, bananas are 19 cents. and there's a pile of them, and there's one of every color. There's dark green for Friday, and then there's a little lighter yellow, and there's a bright yellow one for today. I could eat in the car on the way home. There's every color I need. This is great.
And you see her picture on it.
This is Banana Nirvana. Because that pile is perfect. And you got this girl in your mind. Then, not 2 minutes later, you walk 2 aisles over.
There she is.
There she is, kissing that other guy. Kissing the produce guy. Wait a minute. You spent 4 days loving, putting a smile on your face with this girl. Inserts a gender of your choice. With this person. And now what's happened?
He's depressed.
It was great to be you on aisle 2. It sucks to be you on aisle 4. And that's the truth. That's how it happens.
That's so poetic.
Here it is, right? That's why we're reading this.
Okay.
All right,
I just wanted to find out where I was at.
I'm telling you where you're at.
That was great, Andrew. That was great.
Thanks.
All right,
You explained it to a T. God, meet you in the meat department.
Okay. Today's idea should be applied as follows.
Brilliant.
First, name the situation. I am concerned about fill in the blank. Then go over every possible outcome that has occurred to you in that connection and which has caused you concern, referring to each one quite specifically, saying, I am afraid, fill in the blank, will happen.
If you're doing the exercises properly, you should have some 5 or 6 distressing possibilities available for each situation you use, and quite possibly more. It is much more helpful to cover a few situations thoroughly than to touch on a larger number. As the list of anticipated outcomes for each situation continues, you will probably find some of them, especially those that occur to you toward the end, less acceptable to you. Try, however, to treat them all alike to whatever extent you can.
After you have named each outcome of which you are afraid, tell yourself, that thought is an attack upon myself. Conclude each practice period by repeating today's idea to yourself once more.
Which is today's idea. Please read it. The title.
Today's idea That thought is an attack upon myself.
Today's idea at the beginning of the beginning of the lesson.
Yeah, I am concerned about.
My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability.
Yeah, how's that
That's
possible?
how you end this rehearsal. You take the things you're concerned about, and you very personally think, well, I would like, regarding my boss at work, I would like him to admit that he's wrong. Oh, she. Yeah.
Insert gender.
Yeah. Yeah. Insert appropriate gender. Here. Yeah. I'm concerned about
She used to be a he.
my boss's opinion on my work. I'm afraid that my boss will fire me.
Shame.
Shame.
Shame's huge.
I'm afraid that I'll be embarrassed. I'm afraid that she's right. I'm afraid that if I tell her she's wrong, I'll be made wrong. And you go on and on, like you explore. And I tell you, the first couple are pretty easy on the surface, but you start digging down to what you're really feeling about this situation. That's why you need to, throughout the day, visit these. And you won't be, you're getting deeper and deeper. And then you say, that thought about, I just said, is an attack upon myself.
Yeah. Indeed.
You just attacked yourself.
Yeah, I'm right.
Mm-hmm. And then he says, finish it up with this phrase. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability.
Yeah.
Wow, it brings it back home.
Sure.
Wow.
That's why you're feeling weak lately.
Right.
Wow.
Because you've been rehearsing the very poison you've been trying to give another. You've been soaking into your own skin as you handed it over. As I tried to attack, I showed that attack works out there, which means that when the boss raises his voice, the same way I raised my voice to you 3 days ago, and it seemed to work pretty good because you said you were so sorry. I know I got you. That situation I rehearsed with you is being rehearsed on me now at work the next week. And I believe in it. And it's hurting. What you're hurting is your own invulnerability. This book is teaching you what you really are. What are you really? Anybody got that memorized? Page 1. Love and invulnerable.
Yeah.
He says right in the beginning of the book, he says, before we get started, he essentially says, nothing real can be threatened. Mm-hmm. You who feel threatened is who he's writing it to. Next sentence, and nothing unreal exists.
Right. This is really a medical book, because I'll tell you, it's, since I've been coming to this course, I've learned to let go, in a sense of just like less stress.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It has an absolute effect on the way we live our lives, because we are living our lives.
Yeah.
And we are the ones who are putting together this
whole scenario.
Producer,
wrote the
producer, director,
down to a blade grass,
camera,
and the
you even set up the stage,
man.
Do all that too.
I was just thinking where it says this my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability, where Jesus said, "Judge not, that ye be not judged."
That's
exactly
yes.
The measure that ye judge, where the measure that you measure other people by, is the measure that you're gonna yourself.
Yes.
You're putting yourself into that tiny little box that you're.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, when you're attacked, you believe it because you set it up.
Exactly.
So
is the teaching? It's the same author,
right?
And that is exact teaching. What do we call that in Course in Miracles? What she just said, as you judge, lest you judge only as you would be judged.
As you give, you receive.
Well, as you give, you receive. Course in Miracles calls that the law of mind. Mm-hmm. As you give, you receive. The law of mind. It calls it the law of spirit, and it calls it the law of love.
So
Even if the ego uses it. Could you give anger a say, as Nicole was showing? Give anger a judgment? You will get that same anger back.
The exact measure that you give.
The exact measure you give it. Exact.
So are you measuring that log in the eye? Is that what you were trying to come up with?
Pardon? That's another one.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thought.
Same idea.
Is it the same thought?
Yeah, but you're not blind. You first remove the mote from your own eye before you take it from some other.
Right, okay,
that's right. Yeah, because the source, remember, we're after the source now. And what we're talking about is you are the source of all your experiences. You will make real for you what you decide is real for another.
Yeah.
As it turns out, there's not another. In truth.
Right.
Just you.
Yeah.
I felt the separation there that I think I haven't felt in a really long time. It was just really
Maybe,
Yeah.
Now that's one piece of the many that what we would call costs of anger, costs of attack. You're looking for a benefit. You want that person. Nobody's been willing to say what they wanted the attack to do. By the way, I've asked a few times, and nobody's
protect yourself.
Nobody's really barked out.
Make you safe.
When your nose was wrinkled, your voice was raised, your curlers were falling out because you were shaking your head so much, and your finger was... What were you hoping to happen on the other side of that equation?
Receive all that good stuff.
Yeah, all that, yeah. What does it look like when somebody receives all that energy? What is it supposed to do?
Intimidation.
Make that feel guilty.
Intimidation.
Understanding.
Well, they're supposed to understand?
Yeah.
It's supposed to stop attacking me.
They're supposed to stop attacking, supposed to shut up. You're supposed to take notice, get it right.
But the ego also is built upon standing on top of other egos. I mean, it feels like it has to have an ego underneath it to be able to stand it.
Yeah.
That's a great visual.
Yeah. Get under my foot. Kneel before me. That's perfect. Because you kneel down and say, Dick played for a minute. Dick did it. He said, all right, I'm sorry. Good. Now kneel down so I can stand on your head and wave my arms in victory.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
Right.
This is right. Otherwise, what's our energy for? Right? Your energy is almost like a fist. Why would you we're so civilized around here. We don't actually strike each other, do we?
We could be more sophisticated.
Okay, but that's not necessarily the need behind it. The need behind it, okay, the action might be, the yelling, but the need behind it might be to be seen, heard, and understood.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for you could sit with looking at the beauty of your need, what your need was in that situation that created that anxiety and that fear and that outburst, and you can give yourself self-empathy and compassion around the beauty of that need.
It's office politics is what it is, and it's like foreign to my thought process. So when I'm drawn into it, I go to that victim place and the fear place because I don't know. I literally, at least that's what I'm telling myself, I don't know how to deal with it.
Don't know how to do that.
So when you get invited into a feeling, say, I hurt your feelings, right? And then I'm aware of it, and then I go into your feelings. What is that called?
Where do feelings come from? Anybody?
No, what I'm saying, I'm coming into your feeling.
Oh.
Personal.
Yeah, do you want to listen? You want to empathize.
Okay. Okay, so
you would actually like to share.
Share, okay.
Now you're putting your interests lower for a moment and allowing another's interest to rise up equal to yours because you're listening, you're receiving.
So would that be the prime time to say, I love you?
Well, that is saying I love you in better words than those. Those words I love you, as we've been reading for the last 7 months, have been trashed by the ego, the love songs, the movies.
That I feel like I listen to sometimes.
No, but I'm just saying the field of that.
The intention.
Yeah, when you cross over to that place where it's like, hey, I really mean it.
I'm telling you,
they can feel your intention of
the
love.
Course says that the magic is not in the words.
Yeah,
it's
you shouldn't have to say it.
It's you're going to show. And you will show somebody you love them. Course in Miracles describes this to a T with an amazing detail, even though the first page says this is not going to teach about love because love cannot be taught.
Right.
So you don't have to
But
say
for
it.
1,300 pages, it's the most explicit description of love that has got to my heart and drawn my tears out of any book I've ever read. So despite the disclaimer in the beginning, so how does the Course say that you would actually show somebody you love them? How does it say it? Here's how it says it. It says it in the back of the book after you get a chance to actually do it. Not in the front of the book where you just
About the
memorize.
attributes of the future.
So
Patience.
it starts with trust.
Trust. That's what I brought up.
That's a long way to go
10 titles.
from somebody who's in attack mode.
No more.
When you're attacking, trust is off the table and it's time for revenge. Okay, so first one is you got into trust. Or see, I trust you. You may not say these things, but it's where your mind has arrived because they're the truth of what you actually are. The next is honesty. And it's not the ego's honesty, it's deeper and stronger. The honesty in Course in Miracles on page 11, starting actually on 10, is consistency with what you think, what you feel,
What you do.
and what you do. What you say, actually. What you think, what you say, and what you do are all the same.
Right.
That's honesty.
Yes.
It's not telling you what to think.
I love that one.
It's not telling you what
I
to
love
do.
that.
Whatever you do, if it whatever from beautiful to ugly, when those are lined up, that you're thinking it inside, you're saying it here, and you're actually performing it.
So,
This is honest.
okay, going back to what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And not really wanting to say it,
Mm-hmm.
but if I say it to release it, would be like part of that mind.
Well, yeah, if it's aligned. The problem is one of those three is missing. Okay? You are thinking something a little different than what you're saying.
Okay. So the
I
alignment.
really want to have a good time with you and I really want you to have a good time, is what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm doing is I'm taking you out, but what I'm thinking is, God, I hope I have a good time tonight.
Okay. Yeah.
God, I hope this goes well for me.
What's it?
Because the last time it didn't work out so well.
You flubbed up.
Yeah.
Remember, Andrew, when you said, I love you as long as you stay slender, but if you gain weight, I'm not so sure I can love you so much.
Yeah, that's
good
right.
analogy.
So I'm going to say
Whatever.
something. So something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that will come out like this. You look great tonight. Stay that way.
Don't ever change.
Don't change because bad things will happen.
They're so bad I can't even tell you what they are
That's
right
what
now.
I'm thinking. You almost don't fit in those jeans anymore. You still look good.
But
Kinda.
But. there's the
Oh, that's what I'm really thinking.
but watch it.
So,
I'm watching it. You don't have to watch it.
on this path, you rascal, you.
Yes.
Is there a moment in time, lifetime, if you will, when the ego's insistent voice fades? Or do we always have to contend with it, but we just get sort of smarter in knowing its tricks? Does it fade?
Well,
absolutely
Well, see,
fades.
that was the thing about my party.
It did
You know,
in
'cause
my
it does fade.
situation too.
Yes.
At the end,
Yes.
there was a softening, and I didn't know where it came from, but I could see it in the in her face. And
In your mind, where all your thoughts are and will forever be, you exist now in what your mind provides you to experience, and you always have. In that mind, there's a weed. There's a weed we call the ego. That has just grown up larger than the vegetables in the bed of nutrition. The less you feed that weed, it will get smaller, and the other things will grow with the energy that you have now delivered to those fruits and vegetables, and they will grow instead, and the weed will wither away. Still there for a while to be seen and reminded, and then gone.
Gotta have a good gardener, though.
Just that way.
That was my prayer for the day. Thank you, just dancing.
Good. Absolutely. The case.
Gardener's going to come around. Oh, what's your question?
Well, she says, does the ego become less, or do you have to just learn its tricks and outsmart it?
Did I get that right?
Do you have to get so smart that you can stay ahead of it and not let it speak?
Mm-hmm.
See, now that's important because that's really what we're talking about with attack. Remember last week we said the emotions show up already and I just got to deal with them. Okay, we talked about that. I said, geez, does it ever get to the point where those things aren't just so biting at my heels? And the answer is yes. As we do this work, just like, that's why I had us read the whole exercise tonight. So any of you who haven't done the workbbook lessons in a while, I'm not looking at you specifically.
Yes, you
just
are.
because you haven't.
And you have a right to.
This is what you're missing. You're missing the chance for this wise teacher who has walked in your shoes to show you a way. It's not the only way. There's many ways for those who seek one. But this is a way that's graciously given to undo this path, this weed that has grown so strong. We trust this weed called attack. We use it to buy things. But as Michaeline has hinted, there's a cost when you eat from that bush. When you use attack, as Nicole was saying, you will get as you give in exact measure. Of course, calls the law of mind. As you give, exactly as you give, you receive. Mm-hmm. That's when you get it back, and that's how much. Yes.
Yeah. I just happened to see a documentary on the brain, actually, so it even has a physical explanation. The thought patterns that we have on a regular basis have little neural paths that are strong, the ones that you visit the most. It's like a pinball machine or something. It activates all these little points on the way. And those little paths get stronger and stronger the more we visit on them.
Yes.
So if we have a certain problem, it may seem like we can't change it because that's the way it feels at first. But if we insist and insist and insist on opening up a new path and visiting a new idea pattern, then that starts getting stronger. And actually physically, those little synapses and neurons and little pathways and everything, they start dying down until they just disconnect and stop altogether. Yeah. So
okay, so that
physically.
So let's talk neurobiology just for a second longer. That's absolutely right, and proven in another study that I read. It was under huge duress that we had to find a way to solve these soldiers coming back from the war, the PTSD. They can't sleep. The minute they close their eyes, they see these horrible things. And so what they did is they found, and this is all a justification for forgiveness. There's justification for us 6 times a day doing the lesson. And that is this. What they found is they took these soldiers who had the horrible, they would put them into a very elaborate simulator that had the street scenes of Tikrit, where their Jeep was blown up. The exact seat string, the hood of a Humvee, and they blow little gunpowder smoke in too while this video is playing. And the person is absolutely in panic, as real as they can get it, so that those memory neurons are firing, as she was describing. They're brought to the surface and they're firing. And then you hit the off button. The screen goes blank, the curtains go back, hold on Mario, and they invite the soldier to come out of the simulator. And they would go, and they look, they hold on, and then they go, now, the important to solve is a game, right? It's not real. What they're chasing is this phenomenon she described, which turns out that the most recent time you think of a memory writes the memory the way you thought of it. Yeah. It has an immediate effect on those traces, an immediate effect. They found with this therapy they were able to rewrite the memories into a lesser and lesser severe. These guys started going home and sleeping for the first time in 2 years. Now behind that, there's other things. They actually found it. I think it was acne or a psoriasis drug that actually opened up neural pathways to write memories more quickly. During the clinical trial, they found people could remember their Costco list from 4 weeks ago. They reported that in the clinical trial, and they put 2 and 3 together and got 17 when they started treating PTSD patients, give them this pill so the memory would increase. In other words, the ability to write neurons, the neuron connections, was increased, enhanced, and then they would show them the tape, of the tragedy, and they would write those memories very quickly and very strongly.
That's what I asked yesterday.
And it would lower it and lower it. Now, when I read that article, I was just jumping for joy, saying that's why we're practicing forgiveness.
Yeah.
That's why we practice the miracle, which is a shift in perception about what it is you thought was so harmful. Is that what a miracle is? A shift in perception?
That's it.
All right, so what we do is we shift our perception. It's not like it's a gradual, maybe make it 10% better.
Bam.
No, it's a bam. Shift your perception.
Thank you,
miracle. Then, once you have seen this thing as not actually affecting you, who you really are.
Well, it's just like...
Hold on just a moment. Once you can see that shift, it's not you who you really are. That's a tall order, folks. That's why there's 1,300 pages. That's why it's where miracles completely redefined. That's why we really need to get to the heart of what this is saying and learn it ourselves. Then you can actually start having miracles happen through you. Okay? That's just step one. The next is forgiveness. Forgiveness now is a release in your mind of what you thought was real, because now you know it isn't. And forgiveness is only easy after the miracle, because the miracle dispelled the reality. See? Well, that was a shift in perception and empowered you to forgive. Now you're not just telling yourself a story so you don't fight anymore. You've actually gone to the cause of why you thought fighting was required. And then the holy instant shows up. And that's the reward. That's the peaceful, open, and how you would go through a discussion with your boss, even as their voice is raised and their finger is out and they're threatening your job if you do it again. Because you've had a miracle, a shift in perception about where possible harm could come, and you release the whole story that this is a problem that's going on with you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just what I was just saying was just going back and going into the brain.
Yes.
Going into that zero thing that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And actually healing your past.
Well, this is right.
Well, I was looking for those forgiveness pills.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are they at?
Are they gone?
They're gone.
Oh, there they are. They're up there in the top.
No, I would say forgiveness.
Yeah, they're
no, but that's where I got that concept. Was when I saw that, I go, really?
Stealing.
Yes. By taking your own forgiveness pill.
That's right.
Going into your mind.
Yes.
That little thing she was talking about.
That's right. That's right.
And then going in there and saying, okay, this kind of...
That's exactly right, Mario.
Yeah.
You are affecting a healing.
Okay, so that's that shift of perception, right?
That's right.
Right. Wait a minute. Just taking that pill, saying, I don't want this anymore.
That's right. And this is not justified. It's not how I want to live. And besides, it isn't true anyway. Mm-hmm. Because 16 years ago when I was mad, I don't remember what I was mad about. Mm-hmm. 16 years ago when I thought this was the worst thing somebody ever said to me, I don't even remember what it is today.
I remember being mad.
Now. What?
But you do remember being mad.
But you remember being mad.
Huh.
That's right.
Really?
And you probably rehearsed it for years after that 5 seconds, 15 second event occurred. You rehearsed it, like it says on this page, recurred over and over and over. You played that 15 seconds again over and over. First you told all your friends. You complained to your coworkers. called your mom. You wouldn't believe what happened at work today. And then as you rewrote that 15 seconds, now it took you 2 minutes to describe it. Didn't it?
It gets bigger and
So these neurons that she's talking about were actually, the network was increased from a 15-second look on the boss's face when they held up your work. And the boss said, it was this. Michaeline, did you do this?
I said this.
Did you say that? Oh, that's all it was. But now that little 15-second interaction, did you say this? has this huge mountain of story behind it. It's got judgment, it's got evaluations, guilt, fear, guilt on both sides, shame, meaning, and as we in this lesson, outcomes. We've written already multiple possible outcomes of what could happen, what we want to have happen, what might happen. From this 15-second interaction has now become a preoccupation that she can live with for years. And write the neurons.
Good news, that's why I'm here.
Imagine the reverse of that, see? The exact, as this thing said in paragraph 1, which we must reread before we move on, because everything's in paragraph 1.
And you always wonder.
Hold on just a second. The very same method that wrote those traces in the neurons, that connected the neurons, that made a 15-second interaction into a 15-minute horror. The same tools that the small m mind, the same tools that built that will unbuild it.
Will undo it.
Will
because
undo
it's only in your mind. That's the good news, is the thoughts never left their source. Because nobody else knows what you're thinking. That's proof they never left their source. So all the stuff you built from that, which is the shame base, the guilt, the fear, all that's in your mind. And it's so you could, as soon as you undo that, it's gone. Because it's not real. It's just a thought.
Yeah.
So what if the kid looks like the mother?
mean, not the milkman? So, Andrew...
Yeah, it looks like the milkman, you got a problem. It's supposed to look like the mother. Yeah.
Can I just share something really quick that really helped me with this, while we're on the subject of the neural pathways? When you're in that moment of heat and the moment when you want to change the program, you know what program you want to go to, and the program that's right there in front of you is the one you don't want to go to. What's helped me a lot is Ho'oponopono. Because it just goes right on. It's like giving the dog a bone, like distracting the small mind or whatever you want to call it, giving it something to chew on, because it can't handle more than one thing at a time, really. So you just like chant the I'm sorry, I forgive you, I love you, thank you, I'm sorry, I forgive. That's what I do. It saves my life.
You know, there's another...
In the midst of this?
Right when you're like in the heat of the battle and you want to attack or...
Yeah, now hold on. Now hold on. Before we go into some other teaching...
Inside of my mind.
Yeah, this is great. Remember, so that's great, and it works, and a thousand other things, not just Ho'oponopono. Now we're in a Course in Miracles meeting. Can you think of anything that you could possibly say to yourself to calm your mind?
I love you.
Patience is natural to those who trust.
I can get a slap, by the way. Say it.
Patience is natural to those who trust.
Yeah. Yes. Now, you know how it says that? It's one of my favorite sayings.
I know, it's funny too.
And what it is, and the way it says is that those who trust can afford patience.
Right.
Only those who trust can afford, and that's what describes the characteristic teachings of God. They can afford. They can afford to trust.
And that's what was not there.
That also goes for yourself.
Yeah.
Very
It wasn't
much.
there, the trust.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything on this particular page that you might want to write down now we'd hate to say write down on your iPhone, in your notepad, but write down somewhere so that the next time your mind's in trouble and you're ready to attack and to pounce, might you say, for example, my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. All you have to do is stop the cycle. You could say, I love you, I thank you, please forgive me. Or you could say, I am responsible for what I see, what I think, and the goals that I set, I will receive. You could say, I could choose peace instead of this.
Yes, indeed.
You could say, my attack thoughts. You could say, there's another one. It says, that's just 2 lessons. It says, I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts.
That's incredible. That's a hell of a statement, isn't it?
That's right on it.
That's a promise to escape from the world.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard for me to say I love you when somebody's yelling at me.
You're saying it to yourself, actually.
Oh, so what are you saying? I love you?
You're saying
I
it
love
to yourself. I love you.
I love you.
I'm sorry. I forgive you. I'm sorry. If you get into the Ho'oponopono, it's super simple.
Yeah, so let's after class we talk Ho'oponopono all you like. In the Course in Miracles, we have 365 of these. One for every day of the year. And this is great. And so is Byron Katie, and so is Eckhart Tolle. This is Course in Miracles, and there are fresh 365 of these type of sayings that will reset your mind. And yes, they are done inside.
I like that.
You're doing like
pieces of this.
a chant.
Yeah,
like
that's
a
right.
mantra.
Yeah. Yeah. How about what is it? Lesson, I don't know, 12 or 13. It says, "I am determined to see things differently." Is that not pretty strong? If you're about to attack somebody and you just took a
It's
moment,
like an ice cream.
just took a moment and said, "Wait a minute, before I rip your head off, I am determined to see things differently." And I'll tell you, if you've ever done this workbook lessons and you know the lessons that preceded that one and follows it, you say, "I want that. I want the peace." And when you say, "I can see peace instead of this," lesson 34, I like it. That's because 33 days ahead of time you've been opening your mind and getting honest. Now it means something. I mean, in your heart, because you do it all day. One lesson a day. One lesson a day. All day.
So you could actually invent another day to 356, right?
Yes.
That's why I'm here.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I think it's also important to remember when we see someone that seems to attack us that there is no someone else.
Right.
It's only one, it's only you.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you see them attacking you, she is you. So
Yeah.
you are attacking you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's no exception.
I felt the
That's right.
separation too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally felt the separation, and I think it was just a full psyche, body, spiritual kind of experience because I knew what I needed to do and what was supposed to happen, and nothing fit at that time. It was just a,
I noticed that when that happens and it's right there, it grabs you, the feeling, that at that time thinking is, you might say the prayer, but it's still there. I feel like completely turning off the mind and feeling it helps. This is the feeling that I'm healing. Thank you for coming, and thank you for going. And then you say the prayer. So you just feel and stop any kind of thinking and judging, and just that helps. Just because it occupies you. That feeling occupies you, and it's like, okay, it's actually not too bad. And then it's already gone.
Yes.
And then you just pray and thank you.
Yep. It sounds like a shift.
Yep.
A willingness to shift. It's all on the inside. You betcha. Yeah, very good. All right, let's reread paragraph 1 now. Just so you can get, I mean, each of these lessons are so amazingly gracious.
let's read.
So this is my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. So on page 40 of the workbook.
What is it?
Page 40 of the workbook.
The same thing we read before, 40.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing we just read.
And if I just say my attack thoughts are attacking me,
Yeah.
it has more,
Yeah.
instead of trying to go on invulnerability.
Yeah. And then that word's too many syllables. Okay. That's fine.
Well, I don't know. It just has more impact.
You
should get it quickly. You just
Yeah.
get
No,
it.
that's a good point, Carol. You know, these lessons, or each lesson must have at least 7 lessons per lesson. Some of them a lot, like lesson 135.
Ooh.
That's the longest
pages or something.
That's right. Longest lesson of the workbook. It's
Right.
it's if I defend myself, comma, I am attacked.
Okay.
That's my biggest one.
If you don't think there's more than one lesson in there, I'll tell you. And when you read the lesson, it's almost like it's a whole different topic. Somehow he made up for lost time or something. But there are at least 10 really powerful instructions that are good enough for your day. Really, that one. So they all have multiples.
Yes.
So yes, I encourage you when you do the workbook lesson, if something touches you like that, you take it. You own it. You wrote this. Part of you wrote this book for you to read. That's the circle. So listen to yourself. Absolutely.
That was good. Thank you.
Yes.
I like that.
All right. Listen to these amazing words. Now, it's surely obvious that if you can be attacked, you are not invulnerable. You see attack as a real threat. And that's because you believe that you can really attack. you can get the job done. That means it can be done on you. And what would have effects through you must also have effects on you. It's this law that will ultimately save you. But you are misusing it now. You must therefore learn how it can be used for your own best interest rather than against them. Period. What a gift. What a gift. Okay, so first is that circle we were talking about the whole meeting. That as you, if you're doing it, you must think it works. You're convinced, you're teaching yourself as you attack somebody else. The attack works. In other words, I'm not wasting my time trying to beat you up if I don't think you'll get beat up. So I was getting after it. When I said, what do you hope it to do? What do you expect that loud voice to do?
Protect yourself.
It'll crush you. To get you to admit you're wrong.
Yeah.
And if I speak loud enough, you'll actually finally get it. And you'll say, oh, I didn't hear you before. Because you were speaking too quietly. But when you were screaming, I was able to hear it over my yelling. Your screaming outdid my yelling, and I got it.
Your screaming outdid my
Thank God you can scream so loudly.
It'll never happen.
Thank you. That's what you're hoping to happen. I'm so wrong. I just couldn't hear it until when you told me. Screaming. Yeah, that's what you're hoping, to crush the attack. See? The attack has an effect of harming the other.
But attack can also be at a glance, can it?
Well, we talked about that a few weeks ago. Those glances can be so much more. That's what I think what happened with Michaeline is that what the boss said had a little eye lift with it. What we called micro expressions. Remember that? The smallest little facial gesture is way more convincing than the words. When you say, if I say, thank you. Ooh, that was a little sticky, wasn't it?
That's so sarcastic again.
Yes, I'm glad you gave me that. They are much more convincing than my words are these little innuendos. So absolutely right. Yes. Yes.
So it seems to me that the ego can become sort of spiritually sophisticated, and you can convince yourself, or the ego can convince you, that in your attack what you're really wanting is not to crush the other person, but to bring them to the light and to allow them to heal and see the error of their ways, but it's still your ego talking there.
Yes. The ego, the intent is all such a great idea. The method that you're using has such a high cost, it's not worth it to use that method. But you're right. The ego's very sophisticated, and the Course says that the ego's, I forget how it stands, but it says the ego's plan, I think it's the word plan, or the ego's ways or method are just as strong as the Holy Spirit.
Well, that was going back to that party thing.
Yeah.
I know he was convincing me like it was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't okay. Because he was kind of like, putting me in this like, we can have both worlds, and I'm like, no. I've already been in your world,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the intention starts out just fine. I want truth. I just want the truth to be out there. The method that's being used to deliver the truth is very ugly, and it has a sword, turns out. And using attack in order to get the truth, or using hate in order to get love, which is what we read about in the last chapter, will use the right amount of hate in order to scare in the respect that I think we should have for each other.
Yeah.
And then we'll have what's called a loving relationship.
But the truth by itself is so beautiful. It's you can't even. It's beyond. It's dimensional.
So let's talk about that again. the beauty now. That's the ugly side. We talk about that a lot, and I apologize for that, but that's part of the book we're in, is this ugly special relationship. Okay? We need to see it so we can let it go. What does a beautiful side look like? Let's spend a few moments there. Of course, tells us, we started the list a little earlier. So here are the attributes of love. Trust, honesty, tolerance. What it takes to be tolerant of somebody else's ways, the way they want to do it, the way they want to say it, the way they want to take that toothpaste tube and use the handle of their toothbrush to flatten it.
And the way they put the toilet paper roll on the
toilet paper thing, one rolling the other way.
Gosh, well, go to sleep slowly.
The tolerance turns out to be, if you are tolerant, think of what goes behind that. Trust, honesty, which means consistency. It doesn't mean you say any particular thing. It means that whatever you're thinking, you're saying, and you're doing. That's what Course calls honesty. Look, that's enough right there. That's only. I think it's 2 paragraphs. That is enough for a complete year's worth of focus. Just be honest in your life and all your doings, in all your business, your love affairs, and your work, and your family. Do honestly by aligning what you're thinking with what you're saying and you're doing. And you'll have an amazing smooth ride. With people wanting to be around you. Okay? So trust, honesty, tolerance, gentleness. Well, part of attack is gentle.
It can be.
Pretty artful attack when it's gentle. Yeah, but those are the worst. Oh my God! You can actually make your attack gentle.
But that's passive aggressive.
Passive aggressive. It's
Because
kind of
then you
quiet.
walk away and then you realize, God, they just got stabbed in the back.
Because I'm not a violent person. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So next time you do that, I'm just not going to say anything. The silent treatment?
Oh my God.
Oh.
It's the worst.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trust. It's not very gentle, actually. It's really rough on a relationship.
Slow pace.
You really have to talk to me at all? You're not even telling me why you're mad? Ooh, man. Cold in here. You feeling it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just got the chills just thinking about that.
But sometimes you do that because you may be frozen. You may not know, you may be looking for the right, what feels right, and you can't find it. So you just, it's not always to get back at a person. Okay. Sometimes it's in itself,
So what we're talking about is the attack. That's correct. Sometimes you look like you're being silent, and anyways, you're completely shocked.
Yeah.
The attack will come later.
So
when you figured it out.
When you figure it out, exactly what it is you just said to me and why you said it, well, you must be thinking to allow you to say that. I'll know what to say in response.
She just answered something for me because it's that experience that I need to understand the difference.
Yeah.
Say again.
I need that experience to understand the difference. That's what you gave me.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes we understand that we're just sleeping or in illusion, but we can't wake up. So we understand it, but we're still feeling it. So we're trying not to say wrong thing because we know we're going to say wrong thing.
Yeah.
So we're trying to think the way out until we feel good and say good things to that person. So because we're so good.
Exactly.
You bet.
It's already hurting them while you're that.
Now, what
I
that
would
is-
try to explain, just give me time, I need to find my way out.
And you better be smart. If you're going to take Olchi's path, start with being quiet so you don't say the wrong thing. You know it's going to come out wrong. But if I think about it and soften it, and I sort of describe it in loving terms, have we ever tried this? Well, I'll just go up and tell you how you're wrong in the softest, most gentle way. I know you meant well, but you really hurt me. That may not come out so well. I've made her guilty anyway. You see, you got to be so smart to pull that one off. Okay? Of Course in Miracles is showing us how to get underneath the manipulations and maneuvers, and where the ego is trying to make things happen in the world, trying to fix it, to going to the source of all communication. And if you want to have a loving communication, like I tried to show a few times a moment ago, it's not the words that matter. So if you were to have trust in place, honesty with yourself in place, tolerance so that you actually knew was appropriate. When you read that section, you'll see it means that you know that you can't judge. You don't have the right perspective to judge.
Right.
When you're intolerant, you're judging what's right and wrong. Okay, so you're tolerant. Naturally, you're really tolerant, though.
You're open-minded when you're tolerant.
Yeah. So and so we have defenselessness. Defenselessness. That's not
Doesn't mean victim either.
undefended. It doesn't mean victim.
Right.
Willing to get walked on,
Right.
so that you can have a good time. That's not what it's about. Defenselessness means that defense itself no longer has value, or meaning, or effect.
So what if you have it in writing? No, serious. I'm really serious about it because there's two different ways to look at it. Yes.
Haven't you ever heard that
What if
the
you have
pen
one
is
writing?
mightier than the sword?
Yeah.
You put it in writing, and now you can't take it back or put it down. You hope you get it right the first time. Is what I'm saying. If you put it in writing, you better be so smart. You better have Olchi counseling you on how to say the gentle, loving, you were wrong and you hurt me, and I think you should apologize as soon as possible.
Okay.
Find a nice, sweet way to make her not guilty. It's going to really be difficult. It's much better to get underneath the maneuver, the act, the convincing, the argument itself. Get underneath it and start coming from love. Andrew, what does love look like? Well, it's trusting, honest, open-minded, it's gentle, it's patient.
So what are gestures of love?
It is a gesture of love is motivated by these 10 things I'm listing out. Not motivated by award. It's not motivated by fixing it.
It's not motivated by trying to be right.
It's not motivated by trying to be right. It's actually motivated by what makes happiness. It's motivated by joining and sharing. We try to use the word love to describe that. It's so twisted. It's helpful sometimes to walk around love without saying the word. And that's what we're doing with these 10 things in the back of the book. What are some more of those 10 things?
Kindness.
So our ultimate goal is to get into that arena, okay, and stay there. But we can't.
Okay, so I'm going to change the word stay to be. Be there. When you are being,
Love is.
correct, you are manifesting. When you are being patient, not staying patient. When you feel, I'm going to stay patient for about an hour. And then, Ochi, I expect you to be dressed. Be on time. Find a gift to bring to this party so we look good. Like you said you would.
Oh my God.
I brought him A Course in Miracles. You thought that was inappropriate, so now you pick the gift.
You know when this happens?
Yeah.
I go close myself in my walk-in closet and okay, this one's really tough. It's going to be fun. How do I deal with this one? And then I reach out. And I think this is the approach where you don't play victim.
Yes.
Life becomes fun. Whenever you feel pain, it's like, wow, how am I going to fix this one? And then you reach in. Really?
Amen. She just
This
described.
is going to be the toughest one. How am I going to do when I
Did everybody go with her into that closet? Did everybody go with her? You know what she did? So, Olchi, what are we going to call this? This has to be the closet enlightenment. No, that sounds like it's closed. So she's got a closet enlightenment.
Closet enlightenment.
I'm just glad you didn't use the bathroom.
I
It'd be
use
the
the
bathroom enlightenment.
Yeah,
Not
sometimes my
the
husband won't go in the same room as me. If I close
So-
the door, I go
I'll
to the
have
bathroom.
5 people knocking.
And I do my little inner.
That's right. So Wendy does it too. So what Olchi just described is.
I go in the bathroom.
What does she do?
myself in.
She goes into a different a small private place in the house where she can close the door behind
Sorry.
and shift.
Yeah.
She went in there. She went in there with a problem. She went in there angry. She went in there with this is ugly. She went in there with this is not fun. And inside, when she closed the door, which means you go into the miracle, she asked, that's what we call the appeal of the Holy Spirit, show me another way to look at this. That's what she did in the closet. That's what a miracle is.
Right.
A shift in perception. She allowed a shift in perception of the ugliness. Which ugliness should I choose? The one you're dealing with right now. Which is why I like your closet enlightenment.
I love that.
Because she took it with her into the closet, see?
I'm going to always remember her by that.
It was right then that she did it.
Then I came out of the closet.
And
the light went on.
We're in Santa Cruz, has a lot of meaning, and she's trying to tell us something.
So basically,
she came out of the closet. Now we can
the thinker that goes into his closet is the same.
Sounds better than going out.
Is that what you
Her
said?
head's a closet all the time.
Okay.
Yes. She went into a physical. You can have a little private closet in your mind.
I was enlightened in the bathroom.
I recommend you do. Wendy has a bathroom enlightenment. Well, she has a closet. I have the garage enlightenment. This is for guys.
How about a tree?
Yeah, it's a tree enlightenment for sure.
He climbs the tree.
So she goes in there. She has the shift in perception, which is we call a miracle in this book. And then, did you hear her? Did you hear her?
She comes out of the closet.
Did you hear what she said inside the closet?
This is going to be fun.
She said, "This is going to be fun." How is this going to be fun?
You say that.
She released the otherwise definite path of pain. She had a shift in perception.
But somehow it's going to be fun.
Don't know how. That's right. You have to have the I don't know. Otherwise, you're continuing in the same ego path.
Otherwise, you have some strategy, some control manipulation.
If you
don't get to I don't know.
If you have a strategy and a control manipulation that comes from your ego from the past, you're on the same course, the set of railroad tracks. You're going right where it leads.
It's ego.
So you have to disrupt it. That's what a miracle is. That's what we call a miracle, a shift in perception. Rather than a massaging of the details with the right letter or the right words with the same motivation still intact. No. You've got to be a cut. A shift. This book is called A Course in Miracles. It's a course in miracles. This is how you would teach yourself, okay, I'll say it, to go into the closet
I love that.
of your mind where you can now break off the cycle. We're all drunk on the ego, we're drunk on its ways, and we trust them. Attack is one of the ways of the ego that we trust. Take your attack into the closet, decide I don't have to attack, I don't know what I'm going to do. How's this going to be fun, she said. That is a flip. And she's decided, this is the power of forgiveness. This is not going to hurt me, it's going to help me.
Because attack is going to hurt me.
So she takes a few breaths, and she remembers she's in control. And if she wants to, she can smile her way through it. Maybe find out whatever the lesson for today is from her course lesson, just to get her mind off of it for just a few seconds. Say her Ho'oponopono. Just for a few seconds to break the cycle the ego's been rehearsing and recurring. And now you're ready for the holy instinct. And your mind is actually open and you're patient. You might actually say to the person, and tell me again what the problem is. And you're patient. And you can actually hear them say, well, the problem is that if you're going to say something like this at work, I'd rather have you put it in writing to me first before you say it in front of the crowd. I really love your work and appreciate it. I want you to come back tomorrow, of course. But next time, do it right. Okay, boss. You're closer! You're closer! You're
You should
empowered!
hearing it with patience and love. And
Yes. Only
and not fear.
because she's not in a defense mode, where she's attacked, and then he has to make sure he's right.
Triggered,
Yeah, it's a whole different story. The truth comes out. All right, well.
That's generous.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly what that is.
What was that?
It's one of the 10 attributes, generosity.
Generosity.
So you could actually write that on your eyelids from the inside. You know what I mean? Really, close them. Like she was saying, going into the closet. And then, no, really.
Well,
sure.
I'll look for you. I'll look for you at the flea market.
It's a tattoo.
Mario's.
Tattoo.
I get tattoos.
Put a tattoo. I want a tattoo that says HS, Holy Spirit. So always remember to go to Spirit instead of ego.
Change your life Get one of my inner eyelid tattoos.
That's a new profession.
That's a spiritual tattoo.
And if you don't want the tattoo, you can go visit our closet.
Right. Just be sure about what you want.
Just
see every
ask
time
to be
you close
willing
your
to see.
eyes.
Just ask.
Well, I'll keep one eye open just in case.
You know what, folks? No, in all seriousness, there really is an appeal, an innocent appeal for the one thing that if I could close my eyes, I would see every time. Mm-hmm. Turns out the ego is more clever than that. Yes, that ego, that's that spiritual ego we call it, is more clever because you take even the Ho'oponopono phrase can be misused by the ego. Any sentence in this Course in Miracles can be misused by the ego. So it really helps. Keep it dancing, and you take it like you did, Carol. When you got one that lights your heart, follow it. And the minute it stops working, just set it aside and know that there's another one for you. From you. Mm-hmm. It'll light your heart fresh for another 17 weeks or however long that lasts. Yes. Yeah. So, yes. Very innocent to walk.
You can always use the toolkit too.
You bet. You can go on www.spiritualear.org and get your free Course in Miracles toolkit.
I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah.
It's really great. If you're in trouble, you don't know what to do or what to say.
Right.
That little piece of paper has got, I don't know, there's 10 or so places in the Course. Right. Some of the most powerful mind resetting phrases. Let's have a listen.
First time I came here, Wendy gave me a copy of that. Because there's a big place behind the time first.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Nice. Glad you did it.
So you have some for sale because I need to get one of the new ones. We don't put them back.
Oh, yeah, you can just take one.
Well, we will when we're done, I know, I guess.
That's okay. All right.
Straight out there and just go about 180 degrees almost. In the back. There you got it.
You don't have to go that way. There's so many people here.
This is a pay-as-you-go here.
No,
you got to get the lights and all that.
It's a free meeting, but we do like to pay shipping for the lights. And
Absolutely.
take a deep breath. You just commanded your body. May it never command you again. Find a way so that fear doesn't command you what to do or what to say. Go underneath the fear to those thoughts, that stinking thinking that you've been rehearsing. Try letting it go. Allow a miracle to happen, and it will. Shift away from the idea that you are vulnerable, that any of your attacks ever worked, and that nobody's attacks on you will ever work. Go into your closet. Allow a shift to occur. Come out with a smile. Do you want to attack again? Anybody?
No.
Man. Yeah, let that plan go. Believe me, the Holy Spirit is eager to help you with one of these 10 attributes of love that will work much better. And maybe it's just patience. Maybe it's honesty. That'd be a good one. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. Our women.
All right, sure. I'll take that.
Church, you know, is amen.
Yes.
Robert. Yeah. Good. But.
I'm so bad at breaking that.
Okay. Nice to meet you.